Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, are weapons deadlier? Let's get to it. So Year 2 and The Forsaken are both coming up very soon, and there are some major changes coming to the weapon slots. Now, Year 2 weapons, right off the bat, the exotic weapons are set in stone. Whatever they are, and the only changes to the exotics are going to be changes to the archetype. Now, there are going to be some tweaks and balances and changes over time, and that is just how it works. They want to kind of normalize everything, and they don't want everyone to be running the Legend of Acrius or whatever exotic. They want to make sure that everything is kind of balanced and you can choose between different ones, and you don't want to have a best in slot weapon. All right, so new weapons. All the Year 2 weapons are going to have random rolls, and that is huge. That is a kind of reverting back to Destiny, where all weapons were random, and there were, if you got a certain type of weapon, then you would expect certain stats on it in terms of impact and range and reload speed. But then the mods on it, the bonuses would be different, and it would change how you can play with that gun. And that's what they're doing with Year 2 and the Forsaken. So a Better Devils currently would have the explosive payload, and it would have either the flared magwell or extended mag, plus the different sight options. Now on the Year 2 Better Devils, not only are all the sights and all the bonuses random, but there is an extra bonus slot on there. So it'll still have the 3 different sight options. It'll still have the choice of the different magazines. So it could have flared magazine and extended magazine, or it could be completely different. It could still have explosive payload, but then it could also have outlaw or desperado or rangefinder or dragonfly or whatever. So there could be a huge variation in it. Additionally, Masterworks is changing. Now, originally it was giving you a 5% bonus all at once. Now they're changing it to a 10 tier scale, 1 through 10, and it is a 10% bonus. So a bigger bonus, and you'll know what it is going to be right off the bat. It'll tell you it's going to be range or whatever, and I assume once you get up to level 10 that you can re-roll it for something else if that is what you want. So if you really wanted something with better handling or better stability, but you got range, then you'll be able to re-roll it. The mod system currently is, let's see, the mod system currently is very fixed. All kinetic weapons either have a blue or purple kinetic mod on them. The energy and the power weapons all have either solar, void, or arc blue or purple mods on them, and you're done. That's it for weapon mods. Now, you have a whole host of different mods that you could have, and additionally, the magazine masterwork is being changed to a mod. So you don't have to sacrifice range to get a larger magazine on a masterwork. You can actually change it up and have range and magazine based on the mod that you put on it. So we have mods that they've shown us so far. Backup magazine, which increases the magazine size. You have the Icarus grip, which gives you more stable aim sights when you're jumping. You have The freehand grip, which increases accuracy and ready speed while firing from the hip. Targeting adjuster, where the weapon gains better target acquisition. So it'll help you with your aim assist a little bit more. Radar tuner, where the radar comes back immediately from aiming down the sights. So when you're aiming down the sights, of course, the radar disappears. When you stop aiming down the sights, it'll come back, but there is a second delay. With this, it'll come back immediately. And now you have minor spec, major spec, and also the boss spec. Minor spec deals more damage to red enemies. Major spec does more damage to orange enemies, and boss spec does more damage to yellow enemies. So you can have specific weapons for PvE that'll do more damage to certain types of enemies. So if you're doing a raid or if you're doing a nightfall, you can have weapons that have major spec and boss spec on them because you know you're going to see more of those types of enemies. Additionally, there is also, and the last one that they showed us, counterbalance stock, which reduces recoil for the weapon. Now, how are we going to get these new mods? These new mods, and first of all, the new mods will cost 5,000 glimmer to put them on a weapon. So when you get a mod, it will cost you 5,000 glimmer. So if you're wondering what you're going to use for glimmer, don't worry about your banks anymore. They will run dry very, very quickly while you're putting mods on your weapons. All right, so how do you get the mods? It seems like you will no longer be able to buy mods from the weaponsmith. It sounds like the only way to get mods is to get a weapon with that mod on it. So you'll have weapons that will drop with a random mod on it sometimes, and you'll have to dismantle that weapon to retrieve the mod from it. The good news is if you have an old weapon with a mod that you really like, that mod will carry over and go back to your inventory, and then you can reuse it on a different weapon. The downside is that you'll need to get lots of legendary weapons so that you'll have a chance of getting a mod on it that you want. So what does this mean for year one weapons? Now the developers have said that they are going to be rolling out changes to year one weapons. However, it does not sound like the year weapons will have that extra mod slot on them. So the weapon changes are going to be rolled out on August 28th. And then we will see just how useful or useless our weapons will be. So if you've been grinding out competitive Crucible for that pulse rifle, it may not matter because year two may make that obsolete, as well as your armor pieces. Your armor pieces and your weapons may all be obsolete from year one. They may bring them forward and make the changes to all of those items year one or year two, or you may need to get a new version of that weapon in order to get that extra slot, the better rolls on it. We'll have to see. Now, there are those in the community that say that the new weapons will have that extra bonus slot and the old weapons will not. And then you will have to replace everything that you have in your vault that is not exotic with a new version of it so you can get that random roll, so you can get that extra bonus slot, which, and let's face it, it will make a difference. So that Nameless Midnight that you've been using for the last year, you're going to have to dump it for a new Nameless Midnight or other scout rifle that has the rolls that you want on it. Going to have to look for another one with explosive payload, and maybe you can get one that also has faster reload speed or rangefinder or something else that will work just as well and better than your Nameless Midnight. Now, in addition, with all these changes to the weapons, they are also changing the slots for the weapons. So your kinetic slot can now have weapons that use primary ammo and special ammo, and your energy slot can use weapons that use special ammo or kinetic. So you will be able to run 2 primary weapons, 2 hand cannons, 2 scout rifles, 2 pulse rifles, 2 auto rifles, but you can also use 2 shotguns, 2 sniper rifles. You can use a bow, there's going to be a lot more variation in what you can use and where. The change means that ammo may or may not be a problem for you, or more of a problem. If you're using 2 weapons that both use special ammo, there is going to be a problem where you could run out of ammo for your both primary and secondary slot, or your kinetic and energy slot. Now your power slot uses heavy ammo, and I believe that is it. Though that slot is reserved for your most powerful weapons, your Legend of Acreus, your Whisper of the Worm, your grenade launchers, your rocket launchers, etc. So, although the primary or kinetic and energy slots are going to have things like shotguns and sniper rifles and fusion rifles, they will not have rocket launchers. They will not have grenade launchers. Although some of the single grenade launchers, similar to the Fighting Lion exotic, will still be able to be put into the other slots. But those are more of the suppressor type, and they don't do a whole lot of damage. Some of the legendary weapons will have the ability to put an ornament on it. So you will have some that have ornaments, and there is going to be collections. So you will be able to pull a particular type of weapon out of the collection, but it cannot be one with random rolls on it. So that means really exotics. But on the plus side, because of all these changes and all the random rolls and all the possibilities that you could have for weapons, they're expanding your vault up to 500 items. So you'll have more room in your vault to store weapons that you believe are good. And it's a good thing, because there's not going to be enough room for one of each type of weapon in each slot. So if you like to carry around all different archetypes in the kinetic slot and in the energy slot and in the power slot, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to make choices. You're going to have to choose to run with a arrow and a hand cannon and a sniper rifle and a shotgun in your kinetic slot, and then your energy slot, you're going to have to choose between all those different archetypes and choose probably what you're best or most comfortable or what suits your playstyle and run with those. And even if you have a really good gun roll, you're going to have it in the vault, and you're going to have to retrieve it whenever you need it. Now, what about armor? Armor mods will be changing as well. You will still have the mobility and recovery and resilience types of armor, and those will stay the same, but then everything else will be different and they will change. So instead of having that mobility armor with that one mod slot, they are changing it around. So currently you can put a mod on it that will decrease your ability cooldown time, or change handling, or the recoil of certain weapons. Now you'll still be able to put ability cooldowns, but there is an additional mod slot, and armor has random rolls, so that you will have the ability to have more ammo for certain types of weapons and better target acquisition for certain weapons as well. And that is it. We'll find out more details as we get a little bit closer to Year 2 and The Forsaken coming out, starting August 28th, when some of these changes are going to be coming to the weapons. And then once the Forsaken drops in September, then we'll have everything revealed and we'll be able to kind of play around with it and see what there is to do. And it sounds like a lot. Well, make sure you ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
They didn't expect that! Like a whirlwind of death!